Hello and welcome to another Wellness Wander. This week we're going to be exploring everything that spring has to offer. So leaves unfurling, flowers in full bloom, and the last of our cherries still offering blossom. So come and join me as we explore everything that spring has to give here in the garden. For visitors to the garden, it's lovely to escape the hubbub and rush of city life. And as you enter through the gates, you can instantly relax and at the moment enjoy the sights of this wonderful planting, a trio of bulbs that really brings joy and cheer as you enter the garden. So here we have Fritillaria imperialis, Rubra maxima, Narcissus, Actea, and also Tulipa Appledorn. And heading through past the ticket office, you'll be greeted by our friendly ticket office staff who'll be delighted to welcome you to the garden. And within a few meters of the gate, you can already sense the noise is dropping and there's far less hustle and bustle. And it's a wonderful time of year. You can just see here leaves emerging and lots of promise in the air. And if you take a moment just to peer into the canopy of the trees, you can see fleckles of light given by some of the emerging foliage. But it's lovely just to take in the structural skeletal forms of the trees here as well. And although much of the scene is green, you can really begin to appreciate how many shades of green there actually are that go to comprise a garden and the natural landscape. And just down the footpath here, we can also appreciate the emerging leaves of Acer palmatum Osakazuki, which we tend to take notice of during the autumn when its brilliant purple leaves take on fantastic crimson colours. But also at this time of year, the newly emerging flowers and foliage have a beautiful blood red or claret colour to them. And you can hear in the background bird song, which is constant through the day at the moment, with much activity of birds nesting. And here in the autumn garden, you can also see new plants ready to come out. So some of our trees that our tree and shrub team are placing out at the moment to add to our tree collections. And this is a new species of Acer to us, as yet unidentified, but lovely to be able to see this progressing as it develops and matures here in the garden. And it's lovely to come into the garden for a gentle stroll, but sometimes it's really worth just taking the time to stop and pause and take in the scene. And in the herbaceous border here, you can see newly emerging foliage of Echinacea and Calamagrostis, set against the beautiful fresh lime of the lawns. And here you can see emerging daisies. And beautifully backlit here by the bright sun, Ostrea japonica, with this lovely, fresh, almost pleated foliage. And here also worth peering and just spending time to admire the lovely catkins which are dripping from Ostrea virginiana. And again look lovely here, catching some of the mid-morning sunlight. And from this point, looking again at the bare stems of Betula pendula, subspecies pendula, and in the distance, Prunus autumn glory in full blossom, and also just making out the blooms of Amelanchier lamarckii. Such a calm, tranquil scene. And from here we're going to head out into the main body of the eastern area of the garden. I think this morning you'll be able to hear background noise of some of our younger visitors enjoying being out in the garden in this beautiful weather. But from this point, just worth looking and admiring the delicate forms of the birch trees here, which again are full of catkins, but also showing hints of green from newly emerging foliage. And as we step and wander beside the western end of the winter garden, the whole of this area of the garden opens up before you. So looking across the fairway, you can make out again trees coming into leaf, hints of cherry blossom, and also great mats of cowslips punctuating the longer grass here. And in the background, our grass maze this morning, a real hub of activity for children visiting the garden. And also lovely to take in a glimpse of the International Garden Photographer of the Year competition, which we've shown you before and which will be here for a few more weeks for our visitors to enjoy. And we're now going to head along to the fen display. This is an area that I don't think we've visited before on our wellness wanders, and as you enter you're greeted by this colourful bank of Salix basfordiana. These beautiful, vibrant, golden orange stems. And this is a very popular area of the garden, wandering across the boardwalk over the fen display. And from here, many of our visitors enjoy peering into the water to see if they can spot any newts. But it's also a wonderful point to stop and see if you can find any other wildlife. So occasionally there are grass snakes here, but also just to take time, particularly when the weather's good, to enjoy some of the reflections given in the open water of this area of the garden. But also it gives you a slight vantage point to look out over the garden. So again, another view across our grass maze, which is glowing in this lovely spring sunlight. And even the spent seed heads of the reed, Phragmites australis, are quite compelling, wafting in the breeze. And from here you can continue on your way across the boardwalk out almost into the heart of the garden. And again, more contrast of trees in this area of the garden. Daffodils, cowslips, and vistas through the pinetum down into the western end of the garden. This is a real joy to stop and just take in this view and appreciate being here and just reveling in almost the quiet of this scene. Thank you for joining me again on another wellness wander, and I hope you can join me soon. Thank you.